Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. So today we continue to discuss about the life of Buddha. So last time we discussed about how the Buddha allow the woman entering the monastic order, and how his aunt, Lady Gautami, became the first Buddhist nun, and how the blue lotus flower lady gave everything to enter the nunnery, to become nun, and eventually she attained arahantship. And today we continue to discuss about the Buddha life in his sixth year, the sixth retreat, sixth summer retreat. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. So today we continue to discuss about the Buddha life. So last time we discussed about the Buddha life, and that relates to how he allowed women to enter the monastic communities, like his aunt, Lady Gautami, who became the first Buddhist nun. And later on, we learn the story of the blue lotus flowers lady who gave up everything to become Buddhist nun, and eventually attain enlightenment. And we also study about the life of the Queen Kema. She gave up everything to become a Buddhist nun, and again, eventually she attained enlightenment too. So today we move on to learn about the Buddha life during his schizophrenic retreat. So during that year, there was a rich man, a merchant, a wealthy merchant man. Somehow he went to the river and got a red sandalwood blocks. So he went back to ask someone to make a bowl out of that kind of red sandal wood. So after that, he hang this species. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. So today we continue to discuss about the life of the Buddha. So last time we talked about the life of some red nuns, like Lady Gautami, the first Buddhist nun, the blue flower Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. So today we continue to discuss about the life Buddha, and we move on to discuss his life during the sixth training retreat periods. So during this time, there was a wealthy merchant from the Raja Gaha era. Somehow when he went to the river and he got a great sandalwood blocks, and when he went back home with that blocks, he asked someone to make a bowl out of that wooden blocks. And after they make it for him, so he taught himself that what should I do with this bowl? So someone said that uh, if you want to see whether any arhat appear on the wood, you can try to test them out. So with that idea, so he hang this red sandalwood bowl on the top of the trees, and he challenged all religious people that whoever can fly into the air, they can take that bowl. So if they can use their secret power to fly to the air and take the bowl, I will become that person, student, along with my wife and children. So he made that announcement in the city. So at that time, there were 6 religious teachers. So they came to see this wealthy merchant and say that this bowl would benefit us, give it to us. But the merchant say, well, if you want, just fly to the air and take it. So on the 6th day, the leaders of the naked set told his student that go to that wealthy merchant and say that this book would benefit our teacher. Don't insist that our teacher plan on the air to take that down. Just give that role to him. So after that instruction, his student went to see and talked to that wealthy merchant. But the merchant said, well, I put the condition already. Whoever can fly to the air should have the bowl. So his student went back to the port, doing what the wealthy merchant say. So these naked set leaders told his student again, well, how about this? I will go to that place and pretend to lift my hand and foot as if I am ready to fly up. So at that time, you would tell me, teacher, what you doing? Do not show off your hidden powers of arthood to the public for the sake of this wooden bowl. So then at that time you would need to hold my hand and feet down so that I can fall down to the ground, so that I can pretend that I don't need to fly up to the air to get the ball. So what that scheme, he went there with his student, and he told the wealthy merchant that this bowl will benefit to me. It would not benefit anyone else. So just give me that bowl. Don't ask me to fly up to the air for the sake of that wooden bowl. So the merchant insist that, so the only way for you to get that bowl is to fly up there. So at that time, this naked religious leader pretend to fly to the air by extend lift his hand and foot up, but his disciple asked him, "What you doing? Do not show your hidden powers of arthood to the public for the sake of taking that wooden bowl." So saying that, his student hold his hand and feet and pull him down. So they let him to fall down to the ground. And at that time, the naked religious leaders say to the merchant, "You see, they don't allow me to fly to the air. Just give me the bowl." But the merchant insists that, so you can fly to the air and take it. So for 6 days, all the non-Buddhist religious leader try to get the bowl, but they fail. So on the 7 days, Venerable Moggallana and Venerable Pindola prepare to go out to beg for food around that city. So somehow they saw a big rock, so they just sat there for resting. And now at that moment, some people passed by and say that there was 6 religious teacher who claim themselves as arhat, but for 7 days already, when the rich merchant in this city set up the bowl and challenged them to fly up to the air and get the bowl, but none of them could have the ability to fly and get the bowl. So we know for sure that there is no arhat in the wood. So hearing that, Venerable Moggallana said to Venerable Pindola, have you heard that they seem to challenge the Buddha's disciple? Now you are one of the great power. Just fly to the air and take the bowl. So at that time, Venerable Pindola say to Venerable Moggallana that you are the foremost of those with sacred power. Why don't you take the bowl down? If you take it, I will take it too. But Venerable Moggallana say, well, it's better for you to take it down. So at that time, Venerable Pindola entered the samadhi and the 4 state of dhyana. That is the basic simple knowledge. And so from that samadhi, he emerged from that. So he he flew up and circled that area, and he used his psychic power to lift up that boulder, that rocks, and he flew around that city for 7 times. And while he was flying, he manifested that rocks as large as the city. So the people in that city, I saw by their eyes a monk carried a big rocks as their city. So they concerned that the rock will fall onto them and crush them. So they try to hide themselves. So at the 7 times, Vembo Pindola split the black rock apart and revealed himself. And the people saw that and told Vembo Pindola that please hold the rock firmly. Do not destroy us. Do not drop this big rock onto our city. So Vembo Pindola, with his toes, kicked the rock up his way. So that rock fly back to the place that he picked up. And Vembo Pindola flew around and settled on the roof of that wealthy merchant house. So seeing that, this merchant went out and asked Vembo Pindola, Master, please come down. So he came down from the air and having invited him to sit. So this merchant asked him to take down the bowl with his second power. So Vembo Pindola did extend his arms to take down the bowl from the top of the trees. So at that time, this wealthy merchant offered the food and put those delicious food inside that red sandalwood bowl for him. And after that, Vembo Pindola took off and went to the monastery. So for those who have not seen his sacred power, they gather and follow Vembo Pindola, and they insist that please show us your sacred power. So Vembo Pindola display his sacred power for them too, and after that he returned to the monastery. So at the monastery, the Buddha heard a lot of noises and asked Vembo Ananda, what happening? Why so much noises out there? So Vembo Ananda reported to Buddha that the sound was from the place where the sandalwood bowl that Vembo Pindola have risen to air and take it down. So hearing that, the Buddha um, asked to see Vembo Pindola, and after he saw Vembo Pindola, he asked, "Is that true that you have done this?" So Vembo Pindola replied to the Buddha, "Yes, Master, Buddha, that is true." So the Buddha said, "Why have you done that?" So the Buddha repressed Vembo Pindola and break the wooden bowl into pieces and have them given to the monk to be brought into the sandalwood path. So he laid out the rules in Vinaya that prohibit the arhat to display the secret power. So at that time, the Buddha mentioned to Vembo Pindola that as an arhat, you're not supposed to display any secret power. So that is not correct way to teach others. From that time on, all arhat cannot display their secret power. So in the Kula Vaja, the Buddha said that a secret power miracle should not be shown to the lay people or whoever show it is an offense of wrongdoing. So after set up that type of rules, again the Buddha broke that wooden bowls, and that's why from that time on, the Buddha didn't allow Buddhist monk to use the wooden bowl. So before attending the arhatship, Vembo Pindola was ready for the food, and actually he was a son of a counselor for a king, and he studied all Vedas, and he had 500 followers. So he used to go house in house to beg for food, and not only for him but for his disciple, the student. But on hearing that the people offered the gift and honored the Buddha, so he made the vows to become Buddhist monk. Actually, at first, for the sake of receiving food. So this is a story that he has a big bowl so that he could receive food, milk, and cake from the lay people. So he also asked the Buddha permission to carry a bag besides a big bowl too, but the Buddha rejected that idea. So whenever he did not use the bowl, he would turn it upside down and keep it under his bed. So he constantly pushed the bowl against the ground. When keeping that, and sometimes he grabbed it out so that it um, could be won, and eventually it just only hold a small portion of food. So when the Buddha was informed of that, so he allowed him to use the bag whenever he go out to beg for food. But later on, because of the diligence in practice meditation, eventually he attained arhatship. And after that, he went from room to rooms at the monastery and pronounced that those who have any doubt in the path of liberation question me. That means whoever want to question me about the path of liberation just come after his enlightenment. So even later on in front of Buddha, he mentioned that I have done what needs to be done. I have reached the peak. So from that time on, the Buddha declared Venerable Pindola as the Arhat, the one who is foremost in speaking the Dharma as a lion roars. In the Theravada, that's the place where people recall the verses of all Buddhist monks who have attained arhatship to become arhat. So in this Theravada, Venerable Pindola wrote that by not fasting is this life lived, not by food is the heart appeased. Food is what substance accumulation. Seeing this, I went searching. Should I knew this to be disrespect and how much in the families and brothers hard to remove. Only it's hard for a first person to give up. That's mean whether someone fasting or whether someone consuming the food, there is no way for them to attain arhatship. That's why at first he went out to search for the spiritual path, but later on he recognized that he gave up everything, including the demand for food. That's why he could attain arhatship. And in one of his past life, it said that he was a lion, and somehow when that lion went out to hunt for the animals to consume, so one Buddha somehow he went to that lion cave, and when he went there, he did meditation in that lion cave. So when the lion went back and saw Buddha sitting in his cave, so he was so delightful that he went out to get the flowers and make offerings to the Buddha. And after that Buddha left, this lion was just broken, he was so sad and passed away because he missed the Buddha. Because of that kind of good karma, so he was born as a celestial being mm, for a long period of time. And in some other lives, he was a real turning king because of his merit that he offered the flowers and protect that Buddha when he was alive. So there were some stories of this venerable during his lifetime. So he was the teacher of the king Odena as well as the king consort, and there's many incident that when he went to Kosabi, the where the king Udena resigned, and he taught the Dharma to this king as well as the royal families there. And there's one story mentioned that one day this venerable went to the forest, and somehow the lady from the court went there to listen to his teaching, and the king, when he went around to search for his ladies, a woman, somehow he ended up to see that they sit around this venerable to listen to his teaching. And so this can make a scam that make red ants fall into the body of Venerable Pindola. So because of his sacred power, Pindola used that sacred power to disappear so that he would not be being extinct by the red ants. But the woman under pretend to help the kings, so they pick up the ants that fall from the trees and put on the king bodies because they were angry at his rudeness to Venerable Pindola. So that is a story relay how Venerable Pindola escaped from being stung by red ants. And they say that he came to the court to teach to the woman at the courts together with Venerable Ananda, but usually the ladies like to listen to Venerable Ananda more than him, and so that's why it's delayed to his story. So that is about Venerable Pindola story. And on the top of that, when the Buddha admonished Venerable Pindola not to display the sacred power to the public, so Buddha told him that because of this mistake, you're supposed to stay back in this samsara to teach people instead of enter nirvana as the other arhat. So that's why when Buddhism spread to China, some Buddhist monk worship this rainbow and ask for the spiritual support. So after that incident, the Buddha prohibit Buddhist monk, especially arhat, not to display any sacred power to the public, especially to the lay people. So the main reason is that the Buddha didn't want his disciple followers to focus on sacred power. Actually, sacred power are the product of the pure mind. But the important goal for the Buddhists is to transform the mental affliction, not to attain the sacred power. So the Buddha didn't want his followers to go astray. They need to focus on the goal of liberation, of transferring the mental afflictions like stress, anxiety, depression. And when they have pure mind, they would have sacred power eventually. So sacred powers are the byproducts of the pure mind. But if someone seek for the sacred power, that would go astray from the Buddha teachings, from the path. So that's why, out of that concern, the Buddha admonished this venerable. And of course, Venerable Moggallana is considered as a student that was foremost in sacred power, but the Buddha allowed him to use his sacred power to help others and taught others. So during that raining retreat periods, so there was a incident that delayed to Venerable Pendola taking down that red sandalwood bowl. So the sixth non-Buddhist religious teacher, hearing that the Buddha made that announcement that no arhat could display the power in the public. So those non-Buddhist religious leaders were so delightful, and they said that, well, if that's the case, we would make the challenge to the Buddha. He would not dare to display the sacred power, supernatural power, because he set up that rules. So they went around the city and made announcement that they want to challenge the Buddhas to display supernatural power or sacred power. So at that time, the Buddha said that, well, if that's the case, I will perform the miracles under the mango trees at Savatis. So at that time, that the non-Buddhist religious leader deported the king and said that somehow the Buddha set out the rules that his disciple are not supposed to display the sacred power, but somehow now he broke that rules. So king went to see the Buddha and asked about that inquiries. The Buddha said, well, now in your garden, you can walk around, and let's say if you have big mango trees, inside the royal court areas. So of course you would prohibit the common people to come and take away your mangoes. But for you, you will not prohibit yourself to harvest or take down that mango tree to consume. Are you? So the king said, yes, definitely. I prohibit other people that they're not supposed to come to my garden to take mangoes, but for me, I can consume that. So Buddha say, so do I. I prohibit my student not to display the sacred power, but they can display the sacred power if it's necessary to teach others. And the Buddha say further that on the 8th lunar moon, I will go to Savatthi to display that kind of sacred power under mango trees. So after that announcement, the Buddha walked from Rajagaha, the city, to Savatthi. Again, let me show you one more time the distance between Savatthi and the Rajagaha, so that you can see. Okay. Yeah, let me share with you. Yeah, let me share with you this map so that you can follow what I just mentioned. Here, so the Buddha walked from Rajagaha to Savatthi here. That's a long distance. So when he was here, he made that kind of announcement that he would perform the sacred power at this city, Savatthi city. And according to some commentaries, they say that the Buddha in the past have performed the miracles at this special location, Savatthi. That's why the Buddha walked from Rajagaha to this city to make that type of performance. So when the non-Buddhist religious teacher heard that, so they rushed themselves to follow the Buddhas from Rajagaha to Savatthi. And when they got there, when they got to that city, they went around to pluck or take out every mango trees, whether small or big, so that the Buddha would not perform any kind of sacred power. So one day, this was a man who took care of the king gardens. Somehow he saw a big mango fruit, and usually people would make offerings or give to the kings so that they could get the reward. But this man, he recognized as instead of giving this mango fruit to the king, he rather offer this mango fruit to Buddhas so that he could gain tremendous blessing. So he did that. He picked up that mango fruit and went to see the Buddha, as well as offering that mango fruit to him. So the Buddha accepted his offerings and consumed that mango fruit and he told Venerable Ananda to plant the mango seed down on that place, the place that where Buddha sat and enjoy the mango fruit. So after washing the hands, the Buddha used that water to water the mango seed, and instantly, according to the records or legend, they say that that mango tree grew up quickly and larger than the common ones. So it bear many delicious mango fruit that local people came and got to enjoy the mango fruit too. So hearing that those six non-Buddhist religious teachers set their platforms to challenge the Buddhas. So on the day, the Buddha was ready to display his power. So it says that his disciple, two lay men and a female, a novice and a female novice, as well as Venerable Moggallana request the Buddha to allow them to display the sacred power. But the Buddha said, no, that is not for you guys. And this is my responsibility. So hearing the Buddha was ready to display sacred power, those six non-Buddhist religious leaders ran away, and somehow their platform was blew up by the winds, and one of the non-Buddhist religious teacher run away from that area. So on the way, he met his followers, the one that asked him, Master, I came here to observe how you perform the miracle, how you perform the secret power. Please show to me so that you can compete with Buddha. So out of shame, so that religious leaders jump down to the river to commit suicide because this happened that he feared he would lose the face because he could not compete with the Buddha, because he could not perform any type of sacred power. So on that day, the Buddha displayed his sacred power, and you can see here, this is the image here, that the Buddha flew up to the air, and on the bottom he emit the water, on the top he emit the fire, and eventually from every of his poles he emit the water and the fires to display this sacred power. And also there's some account, it say that the Buddha create a vertical is similar like a rainbow, the jewel walkway on the air. So he walked from east to the west on that rainbow jewel walkway, back and forth, and people respect that, and they praise the Buddhas. And after that, many of them make the vows to become the Buddha disciple. Okay, so time is up. Let me stop here today, and next time I can discuss another topic. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. See you then.